Like, wow, dude, change it to an X instead of a Z. I don't know how long he's had that tag, maybe years, who knows, but maybe we stole from him.
Radiant team.
Tiny.
Maybe he's just a fan.
Maybe.
There you go. So Tiny first pick there for Infamous, who will be playing from the Dire side this time, so they swapped that around, and we got the Dragon Knight for RRQ. I mean, we had the Dragon Knight previous game as well.
It did fine. I don't know if I was sold on his max armor pretty early. Don't know if I'm sold on that, but it does make him survive one lane. Maybe he's expecting to get ganked more, and instead it was like everybody else in the game that got pressured.
Yeah.
Opening wise.
Okay. Early Rubik.
Interesting.
So they're, I mean, what I see is already they're looking to get a natural 5-manning lineup right off the bat. I mean, they did kind of have it in the last one with the Dragon Knight, but with Dragon Knight Rubik, it's more natural.
It's like good ganking wise too. I think it doesn't necessarily have to be 5-man just yet, but I would say lane wise, they're definitely a little weaker. At least lane offensively, they're definitely weaker right now. But defensively, it still could be okay.
10 seconds. Dire team.
We mentioned before the previous before the first game that Bog, you were not impressed with Stinger so far, and they did pick a Time Hunter into a Disruptor previous game as well. How did you feel about Stinger's performance?
I thought he did fine. I mean, I don't think there was a static stone casted in the game, right? Or maybe like one. I don't think it ever
Not lost. Definitely not.
Yeah, I don't think I saw one. So I mean, it was. I mean, I think he did fine. I think his team carried him. I didn't think he really had to do too much in the game, to be honest. I think he was just like a Tide Hunter in that game.
So still not overly impressed.
He moved around. I think he reacted well against the Razor. There were some crucial moments where I think he made smart plays.
Okay.
In his Ravage, his first or second Ravage was pretty strong. I think he did fine. It's not an easy lane against Razor sometimes. I think it'd be a really hard lane against Razor this game, especially if it's like DK Razor. Like surely that's super Razor advantage, right? Like he'll get Breathe Fire last hits, but he's super slow naturally, so Razor can just get tons of damage stolen. I'm not sure what you do to win that lane. I guess dodge where the Dragon Knight is or something, but I feel like nobody opens Dragon Knight lately.
No, I don't see it very often.
Without banning Razor or something.
Instead, if anything, you just put him in a side lane and you just try to dodge the Razor, right? I mean, that's what the more tier 1, more advanced teams would probably do, to dodge that Razor.
It just feels like such a dangerous opening for RQ. Oh, I was thinking Witch Doctor too, dang it. If they could have grabbed Witch Doctor, it could have been fine, because then if they gank Razor, it's okay, they're a little weaker on damage, because Maldic would have overpowered that, but now that they don't even have that, getting a kill on Razor mid, like what are solutions? And I don't think anybody else really deals the same damage that Witch Doctor does in the early game.
No. And in the SA region, especially this one, they like banning the Queen of Pain versus the Razor a lot. They think Bob's a good matchup versus her.
Makes sense. You can get away from static link. I guess A is a really good damage source. That could work.
Yeah. Okay, this might be. So we were talking about how they didn't really make like good movements with their supports either. This is a much easier natural dual roam, right? AA Rubik. It's a little awkward because you're not like the Sanking AA. You have these two ranged, but it's an old classic we've seen, like the Rubik AA.
Disruptor is surprisingly better at battling than the other two supports for RQ. Normally Disruptor's a little weak, but against Rubik A, he's going to be pretty happy, I think.
Yeah.
Just two low armor heroes.
Ooh. So that could be the mid lane right there.
That was
the AACK combo.
AACK versus to try to match up versus Razor.
That was a wonderful pick, actually. So good against the 3 Infamous heroes already.
Like really good versus Razor.
Obviously the AoE of Tiny is a little scary against like CK's ulti, but like at every other stage of the game, CK is like amazing against all their heroes.
And why are those two specifically good together?
Which two?
The CKAA.
Just because it's like a tried and true dual lane. Like you look at Cold Feet, you're like, I get a stun if I have another stun, so you've got CK. Plus you can pull him back with Reality Rift. I bet you could get a stun with just Reality Rift and Cold Feet, for example. It just synergizes.
Super high damage.
High damage, disables. It sounds like a dream.
Yeah,
it's very good chase basically. It's mana expensive on CK, but if he gets maybe he'll even get it like a slow ring. It might be a good game for it because then it gives you tons of laning longevity that you can just cast spells all the time without any need to worry about it. So you could actually turn him into some kind of like a contest hero even.
But it sounds promising. It sounds like a fighting combo. It sounds like something that they could use to set the tempo.
I really like CK overall versus Razor if it gets picked up like that. Because Razor, sure, if it's just a CK without Phantasm, Link can be great. But if there's ever Phantasm, even if you get Link, you're going to get killed by those illusions.
And Armlet is going to obviously protect him against Elder Titan as well. So I think like his illusions are a little countered this game slightly. But if they get into like a mid to late game situation, CK can definitely get a pick off or two at the start of the fight. And once he gets BKB, if he gets BKB, the Razor didn't build it last game, so I'm a little unsure if RQ will build the items they need. But if he goes to just like fast armlet BKB, CK can get like 2 kills in the team fight.
Yeah, I really like ET for CK though. Overall, just sleeping the illusions. Ways to deal with the illusions is always a big thing for me when you're playing versus CK.
It's not that hard too, as long as he sits back and doesn't get initiated on. You can almost always get the sleep.
What are the teams lacking at the moment? What should we look for in those last picks?
Infamous could use a little bit more disable.
Okay.
I think the Tide ban was very appropriate. Like, no matter what happens, if they had Tide, they could just ravage the fight and probably turn things, no matter what.
I think I like Underlord.
Or Infamous?
Mm-hmm. It kills the Phantasm super fast, and it's already versus 2 strength cores, so the Firestorm is really nice, and the Aura is really nice too.
I really like that idea.
I know they like playing the hero too on Stinger.
And with Elder Time, like, it's gonna just amplify the damage by so much.
Yeah.
Does he lane well against it though? I feel like
I'm wondering if
he'd get killed a lot in lane though, against like CK Rubik surely. Like, they have so much chase.
But then they have the Razor versus DK matchup, right?
That's true.
So I guess it's like a trade-off.
So basically, you either like sack your DK versus Razor, or dual lane wherever he gets put, or you stomp the off lane. Not sure which is. I feel like CK is like a really solid pick right now. I mean, we'll see what happens with Infamous's last pick, but it feels like CK is in such a good position that you just give him a good game no matter what.
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Like, even if your DK has a shitty time, because I feel like a DK with some levels and kind of shit farm is still a DK.
He's still
got a stun, and if you win a fight, you can push tower regardless.
So what's RRQ lacking? Because they got the disable down.
They're fine with 4 heroes just going at them.
Just go, okay.
I think they lack some team fight. Oh, Brew. That's another way also to just insta-kill Phantasm.
Oh, yeah.
You just use the dispel, and it actually one-shots it the whole game, pretty much.
Alright, just don't skill ulti.
Because it does 3,000 damage. Because it's 1,000.
Yeah,
it's
alright.
100%.
So they've got some CK ulti.
They've got some real good ways to do it.
So if you're CK, no ulti until...
But RQ also has 3 extremely solid stuns and an Ice Blast. If they can kill Brewmaster at the start of the fight, they can certainly win fights.
This absolutely looks like an Aeon Disc Brewmaster game to me, if I've ever seen one.
And they still need an R7 hero, an offlane hero, right? So they can still fix the Brewmaster problem with the hero, perhaps? Is there an offlaner that actually deals with that a lot? Like, well?
What about...
something that builds an Orchid or has a silence?
They need a little bit more... They need nuke damage big time. Because right now they've got, like, Breathe Fire, Fade Bolt, and Chaos Bolt.
They can go for the puck if they want to. Ooh, there's your...
So they are putting the DK side lane, and they're gonna... Yeah, okay. So we were accurate, I think. Like, the Tinker's gonna go mid versus Razor. DK's gonna just be sacked as an offlaner. Or they're gonna put him safe lane and do an aggro try.
I wouldn't expect a mid hero. What are the other heroes? What was the first 2 picks on the bottom team?
You got Tiny Razor.
Tiny Razor. Against with the Tinker. It's potentially good, I guess. I guess the Tinker doesn't feel great to me, but it is gonna make their lane matchup good. I guess if he shows up to fights, it'll be awesome. He'll be amplified by AA.
So what does RRQ need to force out this 3rd game here?
Don't let Tinker get shut down completely.
Yeah, don't let Tinker get shut down, and
So we're again focusing on the lanes, basically.
Yeah, I think focus on lanes, and they can't really get run over, because I do feel like their drafts are a bit greedy. Like, CK takes time, Tinker takes some time too.
I agree, but because he's with an AA, I feel like he can win his lane really hard. He should be able to.
Let's find out what players have to say about this game number 2. It is the Odeon Gods.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Indeed, game 2 coming up, RRQ versus Infamous. And it did. They were expecting an offlane. They weren't going to get it with that final pick. It is the Tinker coming through from Yabi on RRQ. We'll see how he's able to perform with it. What do you think? I said maybe a bit of a worry from the panel that having a CK and a Tinker can be greedy, or do you sort of agree with Fox? Having the AA, you're going to be able to find kills anyway. You can still be very active on the CK because of the draft.
Yeah, I think the draft allows a lot of aggression. CK was, I think, if you go back when it was kind of picked, it was picked a lot in these aggro trial lanes, and that's where he looks to be postured to go this game with Rubik and AA. That's like one of the scariest trial lanes imaginable.
Yeah.
Chilling Touch on 3 heroes, you lift them back, you pull them back with the Reality Rift, you'll kill anyone. No one can actually lane against that lane. And that's where it's very hard for Infamous to deal with it. They've got to focus on the other 2 lanes and try and make sure that that lane is hopefully not feeding too much, while 2 other lanes go at least acceptably well.
Yeah, we'll see who sort of draws the short straw on Infamous and gets sent up to that top lane.
Yeah, it should be the Brew. Tiny started up top. It looks like he's going to swing bottom. I think the Brew is the hero you just want to sack. Just sit back, throw Drunken Haze at the Chaos Knight, hope he misses some last hits and try not to die. Looks like Disruptor will scout out the supports, which is good for Infamous. They now know the lanes pretty well. They can adjust, as they kind of already are with Brew headed top. This is the same as last game, where Infamous, despite maybe having slightly weaker lanes, we saw last game they kind of lost the lanes in terms of farm, they get the best possible lanes, which is important, because if they get those really bad lanes, then things can get really ugly for them.
We'll see if, despite the way that Infamous have reacted, RRQ can still get the edge on that top with that 3-man terrifying combo we've been talking about. So the other lanes, the mid lane and the bottom lane matchup, any sort of heavy offset between these hero matchups?
Razor and Tinker both kind of have ways to make the other miss last hits. It'll be pretty annoying for both of them. Bottom lane definitely going to be good for Tiny to farm against Dragon Knight, but unlike the Brew, Dragon Knight shouldn't be pressured too much or going down.
And up top, they make the play. Straight up, is what we're talking about. This is the death zone for anyone that decides to head up here. Quick grab and a couple of punches with the chilling touch. Any hero will die to these 3 heroes at this stage of the game.
I don't know if there's a stronger tri-lane in Dota. I'm like, who could you replace one of these 3 heroes of and have a stronger tri-lane? I don't know. Not sure there is any other hero that you could put in there. It is brutal for this Brew. He dies once, though. It's one of those things where dying so that they use some spells and you get some creeps under. He TPs in, has creeps under the tower. That's fine. That's okay to die. There's going to be deaths up there, and it's all about getting at least some farm and levels as a Brew. Getting an okay timing on your level 6.
Schofield looking towards him. Zephyr trying to see if he can close the gap for the telekinesis, but
yeah, they didn't block the pull, which is pretty bad when you have a support who can pull. So Brew gets creeps at towers. Even if he's not getting those creeps, it's still something. So it guarantees some experience and farm for him.
Bottom lane. Quick toss on to R7 as they start to play around with the DK. Pointing the Dragon Blood, he's pretty beefy. Shouldn't have too much of a worry of dying in this bottom lane at the moment. The early levels at least. Yep. Top lane, they do get that grab. Look towards Schofield, chilling touch. Onto the 2 of them, is it going to be enough? The final little miss, actually keeping Schofield alive for a bit of time, but Russman's there with the cleanup. Comes in with the pull and the stun. Now they'll turn towards Stinger. Russman did blow the rift and the bolt onto that Elder Time, so he won't have it here for Stinger. So Stinger will be able to get himself out of there. But nonetheless, this is again another kill for this tri-lane.
Yep. Definitely looking good there. CS-wise, Razor and Tiny doing fine. This is what I talked about for Infamous. Don't worry about winning top, just focus on those other 2 lanes, which is where they are CSing and doing fine. I think Schofield on this ET just needs to keep trying to pull camps.
Look at this wrap around here from Axel on the Disruptor. He's got the control to make sure the Papita can build up the right click with the static link, take the kill, and Zephyr has got to be careful. That one punch from Papita with that stolen 87 damage, and he brought that Rubik down to half health.
Yep. Is he going to get the glimpse back? No, he doesn't have glimpse yet. Keep the infamy out of it. So, I think all in all this is fine for Infamous. The CK's obviously been involved in 2 kills up top, but Brewmaster has actually gotten level 3 in a bit, so the fact he's getting something out of the lane is enough for them.
Yeah, as you say, RRQ just haven't quite been able to control that equilibrium as much as they would have wanted to up there. XP is going the way.
Bottom lane, Tiny, getting DK very low. Don't think he'll kill him.
Just the 1 point in the avalanche, and Nils knows he's not going to waste it on R7 as of now. He's keeping the DK on his toes at least, so he can continue to get pretty much free farm with this Tiny down on this bottom lane. 23 for 5. Very easy time in terms of CSing as he's close to pretty much doubling the last hits of that DK down on his own on the bottom.
Bounty rune's coming up. He wanting to get some, but not going to be allowed. And like what they've done where they're blocking the pull camp and then also not letting like this big camp stack up too much. Often as an ET, a big part of your game is stacking neutral so that your Astro can give you huge amounts of movement speeds and bonus damage. If you deny that from Schofield, there's absolutely no chance of him impacting this top lane. Surprised he's actually up here.
This has happened now for the second time, as you say. The sort of presence of the Elder Titan not getting a lot done. Stinger is going to try and find something in return, going for the chase down onto Achil. He's looking for the Jukes, the Giant, that boosted speed from the Vortex, helping him out. He even turns back into the face of him. He will still fall. He is buying time, though, for the rest of the team to punch into Stinger. Can they quite finish off the kill? They can't. Stinger will survive. South does get cancelled. The Stinger gets away with it. Sure, they lose the Elder Titan, but we are seeing the Brew start to hold his own in that top lane now. He's got the levels. He can punch back and take something away from the scary tri-lane of RRQ in return.
Yep. Nicely done by Stinger to get the return kill. And again, I don't know about EP being up here. It feels like it is the death trap where he's not really achieving a lot. He's not harassing them, slowing down CK's farm. With the disrupt drop there, they get, you know, they can maybe make something happen, but ultimately the two other lanes are going to be a lot easier for them to have an impact on.
Oh, up top, Disruptor talking about him. He gets caught out on his own. The rest of the team are moving in. We'll see again if Stinger can find some sort of return kill. They're turning towards Achil. They've got a lot of punch between these two. And good guy Schofield will let Stinger get the last touch on that.
Yeah.
They get themselves another kill for this Brew. They are starting to sort of maintain some sort of control of this aggressive tri-lane from RRQ. As you can see overall, the net worth is pretty much even. Those early kills that RRQ were able to find with this tri-lane, all starting to just become not more than a distant memory.
Yep. They're starting to become 1-for-1s. Like it was like 2-0. They got the 2 first uncontested. Since then, both the recent kills they've gotten in top have been traded for a support. So, you know, it's ET dies, oh, we kill a support. Brewmaster gets a solo kill, and then Disruptor dies, and then they kill the AA. So trading 1-for-1 is definitely not the outcome you're hoping for if you're RRQ up top.
So they do try and go for the attempts again. Once again, though, Infamous, they do have 3 of them sat there, ready to react to any sort of attempt that RRQ make with this tri-lane. Zephyr starting to head forward, see if he can grab one with the telekinesis. You got Schofield hiding in the trees. Stinger showing in lane. Zephyr is going to do a quick sweep of the sidelines, see what he can find out. He's got eyes onto Schofield. So the bigger target would be that Brewmaster, but Zephyr goes for this grab on the Elder Titan, just drag him back. A cold feet. This doesn't even need his pick in, as they will get the kill. The question is, can Infamous turn it once again? EP is coming in, indeed. Minos is there. He's going to move forward. He's got his eyes on these ones, but DK tries to stand up to the fight. Does get fall back a little bit, but he's ready to get back in. RRQ, can they find big kills out of this? They've already lost the CK. A Stinger now chasing down Zephyr. The DK trying to do his best to sort of peel Infamous off these squishy supports, but he just can't do it. The wraparound now is coming from Pepita as well. Everybody turning up to the top lane, and overall it's paying off big time for Infamous as they'll cut down the DK as well. This top lane well and truly under control now in favor of Infamous.
Yeah, Infamous like, you guys want to play a fighting game against us? Like, please, we invented this style. As they show how much they love to clash and brawl early on. All cores in the top lane. Like the only hero not there was Disruptor, who I think TP'd mid after dying at the start of that fight. So both the Tiny at bottom with his Invis rune comes in, Pepita just rotates through the river to get up there. They were willing to commit everything. Much like RRQ brought the Dragon Knight, but unfortunately they have not got a mid who can help out. The Razor comes in. Tinker is not a hero that wants to rotate. He wants to farm his travels. He's got the March of Machines build. He's not going to offer a whole lot in that lane.
Yeah, no, even though the Disruptor did go down, as you say, there was still sort of that crucial time where he got the glimpse off onto the DK at least, so there was some sort of mere seconds of the fight where the DK really couldn't go to work in terms of right clicking. Down bottom, Russman, he's been caught out, found out. The CK surrounded by 3. Infamous now ready to roam around in response to wherever that CK will go in terms of looking for farm.
This tiny Kataru is just massive. He's really far ahead of everyone in the game.
A Blink Dagger, just a few hundred gold away. Very, very close, and there's a few squishies on the side of RRQ if he gets on top of the AA. I mean, even like the Tinker at this stage, very vulnerable to being jumped by that sort of burst combo. Achil being forced away from the tower. They are TPing down here. Russman coming in, of course, does not have the Phantasm. Did use it before he went down in that last engagement. Has to be careful of that. As Infamous, they are more than ready to fight and dive in. They've got eyes onto Achil. They'll glimpse him back into the clutches of Minos. They'll surround the AA, toss him back under the tower with the tree. They're just playing around with their food here as they'll finally devour the ice cream cone.
Needs to be careful he does not get found here.
Dire's top
Be fine if he doesn't poke too far out.
I mean, he's obviously TP'd down into the situation, so there's a lot of time where it's just the CK hiding in the trees, Rusman. And he's not able to achieve anything at all in terms of farming towards the mid. They've got it. Schofield has the setup. Computer's able to walk in with the plasma field damage. It doesn't matter about that missed chance from the laser with the right click. They'll get the kill. Rusman trying to find something in response. Looks towards Schofield. Does find the stun on the sidelines though. These supports, they're trying to rotate into help, but I mean the Rubik just walked straight underneath the eye of the storm. Pepita right clicks him down. Actual's going in onto this disruptor, but there's too many heroes on the side of Infamous. Pepita, he's just chasing down these supports, saying, guys, look at me, I'm here, I'm beating down upon you. He just picks up an easy triple kill. 12-7, 3k lead for the side, up top. Immediately as that Elder Dragon form wears off, there's the blink reveal of Minos, who'll jump in. Dragon Tail from R7 trying to hold back the Tiny as he looks to retreat, but the slows there from the clap. They surround the DK, Schofield, Stinger, and Minos in a quick toss. Would have been a bit of a risky one there if he ended up getting denied by the neutrals, but the toss such was enough damage.
I think Katara's having some fun with it. He's tossing people away.
Yeah.
He's feeling good about his team and their performance.
With another sleep, Schofield, he's got the setup for Pepita to close in. Yabby, he's caught out. Nice Razor. Now 7-0-1. Both cores of Infamous massively at the top. The glimpses there onto Zephyr. And we're going to go a bit of a similar way to game one, where at the lanes it's sort of kind of chill. You know, RRQ, they're getting something done, but BAM sort of got past the 5 minute or so mark. Infamous, they turn up to the fights and they seemingly take and win every single one of them.
Infamous are way better at getting their cores involved, and that's the real difference here. It's like, yeah, early game lane, RRQ good, their supports are very kind of, I think their supports are playing well. Like, they secure the lanes pretty well, give RRQ a decent kind of laning setup and a kind of CS advantage in some ways, but Infamous are way better at that, you know, 10-minute mark, like you were saying, where, you know, cores start rotating. They TP in the Tiny, they rotate the Razor, and meanwhile RRQ's cores, it just feels like their rotations don't quite match up.
So, RRQ, got to be careful. Yabby's come out. They've got the vision. All the sleeps there in time before he can TP. Yabby gone again. Zephyr will be fortunate in the attempt with his TP out, but this is another time that the Tinker's getting knocked off the map. And I mean, it's sort of just a really good sort of overall statement of this game is the fact that that Brew that had that trial lane against him, he's now ahead of the Tinker in net worth.
Good news, Tinker didn't lose money when he died. He had his boots to travel.
True. He's got his spots.
But in bad news, he's not farming. He's also giving away some gold. Everything coming up Infamous here, as they are looking like a very scary team when they get given these games where they can just team fight, brawl. They didn't match up well against EG, because EG was just like, we're just going to sit back, you can kill us, but we're going to 5-man push down your towers. But RRQ kind of playing it into and allowing these pickoffs to constantly happen.
We'll see if Minos gets baited in on this. I say that because there is backup, but at the same time, Minos, he has got backup himself coming in. It would be a 3-for-2. The numbers favouring RRQ. Can they use it to their advantage? They go in with the Ice Blast Phantasm as well. RRQ trying to pick off the Tiny, and they will be able to take him. They'll get one. They've already lost the Rubik in response though, and Pepita is looking for the favourable cleanup. Rusman trying for the TP out, and he will escape successfully. So all things said and done, I mean, it was good, but now the rest of Infamous are coming in for RRQ, as things will look to turn once again for the worse, as they lose the DK.
He's out somehow.
Gets spotted quite out there by Schofield, so he'll escape, but just as it looked like they were about to find a favourable trade, the rest of Infamous are there to back up their fallen comrades and secure another victory in team fights. And Pepita, he's just picking up supports on the sidelines. Will finally find Achel, as Achel once again just wanders into that Razor in the jungle.
Yep. Feels very tough for RRQ. They've kind of had the tools at the start. They did enough in the lanes, but they're just getting outplayed. And Infamous constantly running over them. Very hard Tinker game because of the scouting tools that exist. You've got the ET Spirit that can always find him, even when he has the blink in the trees, the plasma field from Razor. If you ever get vision of him, you're going to be able to glimpse him as well. So it feels like Infamous have plenty of tools to deal with a Tinker this game. So even if this Tinker starts getting some momentum, some farm, it's not going to be a problem that Infamous can't solve.
Top lane, Rusman is pretty far out. Infamous are coming in for the fight. RRQ are bringing in numbers as well. They're going to try and make an attempt to sort of turn this one around. Avalanche comes out onto the CK, but Peter already sort of holding fort at the bottom, making sure that no one can get through to help out Russman on his Chaos Knight. They'll try for the telekinesis. They do get the Ice Blast pass over onto a couple of members of Infamous. Stinger still with the chase down, forcing RRQ back. Infamous get themselves one kill. You know, Infamous, they're going to be hungry for more. There's the jump clap, toss back onto Anshel, as the AA will fall once again. More kills into the pocket of Pepita as his Razor 12-0-2. 12 kills at this 14-minute mark. 7k lead. An overall 21-8 between the two teams. Infamous they're not messing around this morning. They are playing as a very, very tight unit.
It's good data coming out from the Peruvian squad. And Tarek going to find some more here. He's kind of in deep by himself. But,
goes in for the quick jump on the...
What's it matter?
The Rubik, and he's gone.
It kind of feels like he's playing like practice mode in a sense. Like even with these tossbacks, like he's using tossbacks to his teammates when he doesn't need to. If anything, he's doing tossbacks poorly, but like he shouldn't be tossing them back. He should just be tossing them straight up as we saw the last fight. But it's like, oh, I'll just practice this for when we do need it. Because Infamous are steep.
Oh, mid lane. Schofield, he's got the splitter out to Russman. He's just going to try for the TP away. They have the damage to beat him down before he's out though. Pepita now beyond godlike on his race.
13-0.
Yeah, that's
just happened.
And what was it? 16 minutes in, he has the BKB complete. So now he can't really be touched at all by RRQ's lineup. Sure, there's a CK with Phantasm, but it's not enough. It really isn't at this stage.
I think Infamous really actually looking good. It's kind of hard because they're opening matches at BO1 against DG where they kind of get cheesed by like
they got Drow
vintage, you know? And they didn't actually, they actually looked like they played alright, and the early game was pretty decent from them. So I think Infamous showing that they are maybe a contender at this tournament. If they don't, you know, go up against those cheese strats. So very promising stuff coming out from them here.
And you know, you sort of said maybe these are the sort of series that really sort of propel you to sort of having that confidence to continue to play in sort of the style that really sort of is complemented by your individual player skill.
And a team and players, I would say, a very confident space. If you have a player like Taro and he's feeling good and, you know, being cocky and getting away with it and getting results from it, that is perfect. That's when your team's going to win games, cause upsets and stuff. That's what we saw in the past with the Infamous at the Frankfurt Major that everyone remembers with Kataro. This is a guy that needs that confidence, needs that momentum. So a win like this moving forward is great for a team who likely is going to be going up if they win this up against Navi in the next match.
Yeah, that should be quite a series. We'll see though, as this one of course not. But RRQ still with a little chance to swing this one around. They do have a Tinker. They can keep the game going, that is for sure. Yabi nearly got that Blink Dagger complete. So really a lot of sort of pressure on Yabi to just keep this game going to a state where the CK, Russman, can finally get those big items required. So that with the Phantasm he can sort of just jump into the fights and just one shot down one of the heroes at least with the illusions, so they can sort of get the number advantage RRQ and have a chance of turning the team fights.
They need this Blink on Dragonite as the main tool, and at that point can try and satisfy. But Peter runs it with BKB, doesn't actually stop anything from as far as TP outs go. That's one thing that they are a bit limited in. Disruptor and Tiny weren't there. The other three heroes need a stop.
Oz is going in here onto the CK. Rusman will be glimpsed back into the Static Storm. That's got the backup though. They'll look to turn. They'll take down the Disruptor. And Oz, he really wants to go back in and try and finish off the kill. He'll jump forward, get the toss onto DK. They'll go for the sleep stomp. They'll surround him. Stinger, Schofield, Minos, and now it's back up for Pepita. He's ready to join in the party, add to his ever-growing kill total that he is tallying up this game. They will claim the DK. Not quite getting the CK though. That was certainly the kill that they would have hoped for, but RRQ at least able to buy space for Russman to get out of there, continue working towards his Echo Saber.
They're very good at like damage mitigation too. We've seen even last game where it's like, oh, you know, Infamous, a rare moment, were split up and they had 3 top, 2 down in the enemy jungle, and those 2 heroes kind of got caught out and they end up only losing a support and still find a core kill. So even in a scenario where it looks like RRQ have the advantage and have found a fight where Infamous is split up, it still doesn't go their way.
Peter. Once he has a Shiva's Guard, it's going to be pretty untouchable. I mean, already with just the plate mail with that BKB.
Yeah, I don't feel like the Chaos Knight's going to be able to have much of an impact this game. It's really just the Razor who can easily have an impact. Oh, sorry, not the Razor, the Tinker, but
yep.
Not going to be the easiest of games for him. I've seen even Razors match up well against Tinkers. This Blink Dagger build that you can sometimes go, we may see it after the Shield, can be very effective.
Up top, talking about Blink, Minos in there with the jump. Hey, caught out again, Actual's gone.
Again, he tosses him to the creeps rather than straight up. Why not?
Take a tower off the back of that as well. Must keep the ball rolling.
Blink Towers, they probably even eye off Roche fairly soon. They don't have the best Roche lineup with the DD rune outside the pit. They sure as hell can take it.
Very little really the RRQ can do to get a look in. Putting a stop to this Roshan attempt. It should fall down way too quickly for any sort of reaction to come through from RRQ. They do have the Echo Saber finished on the CK, but as been saying with the itemization of Pepita, got very little chance of finishing him off. Get the Ice Blast into the pit. Will temporarily slow them down, but it's obviously not too scared. They're very beefy heroes at this stage of the game. They'll continue through, finish off Roshan, get the Aegis into the hands of Minos.
They've mostly even dodged the Ice Blast thanks to the Sentry Ward they had. Spotting it flying over. Things looking very, very good. The team fight is just something RRQ can't even look to because of the Brewmaster split. It feels like Infamous is going to have the advantage there, not to mention the BKB on Pepita's Razor.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Finger at bottom, needs to be careful.
Well, there we have it. I managed to get it.
The sneaky little Fate Bolt clapping a Tinker there.
Just the right amount of burst to get Stinger down before the split comes out.
Yeah. Nice little play from the Rubik, but not gonna change the state of the game too much. It's one of those things where if you're RRQ, you really need either a big team fight win or kills that turn into towers and objectives. This doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. It will be the Radiance build from Brew 2. It looked like that was, with the money he was saving up, that's what he wanted to get. Another good way to maybe deal with the Tinker, if you find him, you've got that Radiance burn. Makes it a lot harder to blink away. Good against the CK with the mischance, doing damage to all the illusions.
Shiva's Guard pretty much done on the Razor. Just the money for the recipe to go. 22 minutes. Both Peter and Minos just insanely farmed him.
For RRQ, they've got to find a way to burst the hero. They've got really good setup for the Ice Blast. That's key for them. They've got the Dragon Knight stun with a Blink Dagger. Chaos Knight has a Blink Dagger queued up, and even just being able to follow up the Dragon Knight with a stun of his own guarantees the Ice Blast landing, and then they can amp up all the damage with the Ice Vortex. So their burst potential is there. Even a Razor with BKB, if they get a stun on him before he BKBs, can be bursted and taken down.
There's a chance. There's certainly is, because look at the rest of the team Infamous, they don't really have anyone with any sort of save. There's very little ways to...
Got a Glimmer Cape, but that's mitigation, it's not a save, in a sense.
I guess they could look for a sweet toss-back play, but...
That's true.
I mean, that's sort of the saving tosses, you know. Minos, okay, Katara doesn't really seem like the guy who's going to be looking to saving his teammates. He wants to toss the enemy.
He wants to toss teammates in even.
Exactly, yeah.
We're fighting is his motif.
That's the Shiva's Guard done up in the top jungle. They've got the sleep DK. See how they play around with him. They'll pop down the Earth, but a Static Storm as well as they'll hold him in place. Minos has already found the Rubik on the back of it all, as the DK will fall to the two supports. Never a good feeling for a core DK.
Yeah, two supports finding it, killing you with. They do use ultimates, but ultimately that's not a big problem. And Rubik was getting brought down by Tiny elsewhere, so everything looking very, very good for Infamous, who are starting to build up some damage items on the Tiny. Probably looking at like, we gotta find a way to siege. Well, it's just kind of scale even more. So
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Sure, that was, but yeah, it's at this point it's not entirely going through the routines. There is still openings for RRQ, which is why Infamous aren't just able to run at high ground or keep going for kills, because that burst potential is there. So they are definitely showing some respect to RRQ's comeback potential. But it's going to come down to RRQ. If Infamous isn't going to give you opportunities by playing overly aggressive, you've got to start looking for smoke pickoffs and ways to at least get yourselves back in the game. Rubik, Tiny, finds a pickoff. Needs to get out now.
Well, they are going to look to try and chase him.
Quite alone.
They are going to pull back with the Rift and with the stun. They'll take him down once. That's the Aegis pop. Backup is en route to help out. Minos for round 2. Throw the Ice Blast out onto him. And indeed, on the back of it all, the Primal Split. Stinger just prioritizing Yabi, keeping this Tinker out of the fight, and he'll be able to finish off the kill as well. Tinker will fall. The DK surrounded as Pepita turns up. They swarm down the mid lane, Infamous. They've found 3 so far out of this. Buyback will come out from Yabi. The net worth lead increases. Infamous once again. They certainly did not mind sort of the Aegis going out of the hands of that Tiny, as they were more than prepared to make sure that they still got the favourable trade. They turn up in style. Yeah,
if there's no Aegis, you kind of look at that like, oh, you know, that was maybe a even trade, like slightly okay. You lose your Tinker, your Dragon Knight, but you kill the Tiny who's out of control. But given he has an Aegis, definitely not worth it for RRQ. They were hoping that Tiny was in perhaps Katara fashion completely alone and they could kill him twice in a row. They weren't like overcommitting for the first kill. They were trying to save some spells, but unfortunately for them, Infamous had the Brewmaster nearby. The Brew getting in there, and the Aegis buying him enough time for Infamous to turn things, and well, puts RRQ even more on the back foot, even further in the hole in terms of economic deficit. As Tinker buyback, he's now down below 10k net worth, and all 3 Infamous cores topping the charts.
Now Stinger with that Radiance complete, and of course also towards this Tiny. That is Daedalus done at 26 minutes in. There's going to be quite some punch that this Tiny is packing. One of the definitely one of the most fun Tinys I've seen at this sort of earlier stage of the game. 26 minutes and having 17k net worth on it. Double damage in the ball as well. Yeah, even the CK and DK aren't going to have too much fun when this Tiny gets his hands on them. BB Tiny, the best carriers of that room. Massive amount of base damage that he has. He is on the hunt with friends as well. Smoked up, moving around the map already. RRQ playing careful there into the tree line. Looking for these TPs out. There will be a scan from the Dire, catching him just on the edge of it there for a moment. They know that he's up here somewhere.
The Spirit was just about to find him when it got pulled back.
That was very close. R7. Should be
He's a lucky camper.
Yeah, he's got the TP scroll. And will be able to get himself out as he wishes.
I feel like he should be teaming out, but I guess he wants to creep skip some waves here. If you don't get caught in the first 10 seconds, you're probably like, well, they're done looking for me, so...
Sure, yeah. I guess he's just super scared. He thinks that they are still hunting around in some sort of capacity.
Yeah, we'll see if he blinks out for this wave. But if he's thinking of creep skipping, that's what he's doing, but nope. He's going to creep skip the next wave, apparently. Or he just didn't time it.
Yeah, looks like he just missed the wave. So he's just going to take the long walk out from that top lane down towards bottom, where he certainly is needed. Because Rusman, he gets found out in his own jungle. Because with the DD on the Tiny, he's gone.
He's got a creep wave.
There we go.
Timed this one.
He's got this one. R7. See if there's going to be any sort of response from Infamous. They could certainly send up a couple of heroes, even just the 2 supports as we saw last time. Go for the pickoff. The build, Pepita looking to end the game, just going for the Aghanims.
Rubik doing the same thing bottom, but they're getting picked back.
Back up top. Yabi caught out by the setup from Schofield, slams down the ultimate. Stinger turns up for the party.
Both side lanes, Rubik and DK, creep wave waves, but hey, you know, we got a creep wave mid, we don't really care. There's even a creep wave bottom that was not skipped, so there's plenty of creeps to work around, and Infamous may just get a couple lanes of racks here.
Certainly looks to be that case with this sort of pushing power that they have. Even without the Aghanims as it stands, just with the punches of these two, sieging tier 3, now looking towards that melee racks as well. In fact, he's hiding in the trees, maybe seeing if he can get a cheeky jump in on anyone that dares come forward, but he'll turn his attention back towards objectives. Tier 3 melee racks going down on this bottom lane, the range racks as well. Trouble as RRQ can just not hold this back at all, especially when their Tinker is out of the game.
Yeah, that
Radiant's middle tower is
dieback of sorts, since he has that increased respawn time, means that it's too late, the Rack's going down.
They're going to make it a bit of an attempt. Here we go. Coming into the combo. Ice Blast out as well, but the BKB's already there from Pepita. He has the static link straight on top of Rusman. Rusman's going to get taken down. They'll lose Achel as well on the AA. They're just falling in mass here, RRQ. As Infamous take them down one by one. A buyback comes out from the Rubik. And the middle melee racks are gone. Infamous, they do fall relatively low, but the Avalanche glimpse onto Yabi, catch him out. They'll surround the Tinker. Another classic Minos toss there coming through as he plays around with RRQ. And they'll get the final range racks here from this mid lane as well by the looks of it. They're beating down the Rubik through the stolen primal split, getting the effective team wipe. As GG will be called, RRQ tap out, Infamous take the 2-0, and an incredibly convincing showing from them there in this matchup, this best of 3 against RRQ. There was really no doubt about it at all today that Infamous definitely the more polished team out of these two.
Yeah, I think showing that RRQ are a bit out of their depth here in GSC. Great to have an Indonesian team to play in front of the crowd. We will see them again, so we'll see if they can bounce back.
And maybe the crowd energy is what they need. Yeah, you never know. A lot of teams like this. Maybe we'll see RRQ really step it up with the live audience.
Yeah, and I think Infamous showing that they're not just one of the punching bags of this tournament. Tournament where a lot of us talked about, look at EG, Fnatic, VGJ, Na'Vi. This top 3-4. These other 4 teams, they can't beat them, but Infamous show